Hello, this is Skibby, and today I'll give my 2 cents on the BattlBox wallet. I've been carrying it about, well, what is today? 20 something, so about 3 weeks, I guess. Maybe less, maybe two, I don't know. Whenever my video posted, from then on. And I wanted to give my thoughts about it. Um, it's okay if you want to try out a slim wallet. It's not ideal for me. Mostly because of how it was constructed, and we can go over that. Fair warning, I'm gonna nerd out on some leather stuff right now. That's all this video is gonna be, probably. Firstly, this is how I carried it out. We got some insurance stuff. We have a few stamp cards. We got my driver's license, a couple debit cards, and we got some cash right here, right? No big deal. It'll carry, I don't know, 5 bills folded before the magnet starts going really, really weak. That was kind of an issue. As you can see, maybe, I'm not sure, or my viewfinder, yeah, see how it's raised there? That, if you're having a, I don't know, high pain day or high anxiety day, I don't know your deal, you can feel that real good. Pee under the mattress kind of situations. Pee the vegetable, not urine. So, because that is a little point of pressure on your. Well, I carry this in my back pocket. I know some folks put them in their front, but it's thin enough, and then I have Hank on my other side. It kind of evens out pretty okay. But sometimes you feel that on your butt, and you got to take it out anyway. But my debit cards are up there with my cash. Figured payment on one side and other stuff on the other. And you'll notice these two aren't used and this one isn't used. And we'll go over why that is now. Because I'll show also when I take the cards out. But when you put these in, if you see, they flare out. They flare out because of how this is designed and how it's made. And then you have these flicky boys, and those are going to get caught on stuff, and you might break them off. Tell me how I know with my, where'd it go? My Caribou card, right? Tell me how I know when cards flex, they break. So, if somebody wants this, and they're okay with this situation, more power to them. It's just this doesn't fit with me, having my cards flare out and gonna break on stuff, right? So this got pretty thick right now, and each of these will carry, 3 or 4 cards if you want. You can load this thing out. And then all of a sudden you're approaching the same thickness of a bifold again, right? Look how thick that is. The top to the bottom, it's pretty thick. So, it just I had to downsize. Not that I use the cards that, all the cards that I keep in my wallet, but I like to have them. And so now we'll go over why that is. And if you'll notice, this is a nice pebble grain leather, which is no problem. Nice and thin. But the problem comes in, forgot something. The problem arises in that this is a very soft leather, and you can't just have soft ends hanging out because they'll brush against stuff, and it's not that they fray, but they kind of get chewed up a little bit, and then it starts to impact the structural integrity of the rest of the hide. So that's why they're folded over and under. They're folded over and under. Here's the raw edge here. If we can get to it. There we go. Here's the raw edge here. And as you can see, there's a nice satin lining in there, which is fine and dandy. It allows your cards to slip in and out just fine. And that's no issue with me. But if it was a slightly thicker leather, such as this calf hide, this is calf here. Here's a raw edge. That's a raw edge. It's cut and it's not fraying. So if they went with a slightly thicker leather, you can actually save yourself work by just cutting and stitching, is kind of what I'm saying. And you may know from seams on your clothing, sir, you're packing my light, my boy. If you can see here, this is thinner down here than it is up here. Well, that happens anytime you double up on the leather, and each of these is doubled up. That's why they start to flare out. What are you... That's your mama's. That's your mama's. You boy. You're gonna get in trouble. So, you know, the doubled up leather is the cause of the flaring of the cards. And even though these are nice and thin, you'd expect it wouldn't be as bad as it was. I showed you. Some of these cards are quite literally paper. It's just paper punch card. And they still affected it that way. It's just not for me. Pebble grain, I don't know why people use this. I mean, it's nice and fine for, like, you know, high-end driving gloves or something. But on goods like this, it needs to stay with something that's going to be thicker and not a minimalist wallet, in my opinion. Because it gets to be too thick in places that you don't want it to be. And then it actually has the opposite effect. Besides dogging on it all day, some things that were nice about it, the emblem stayed, which is pretty good. You guys just missed a cat yawn. I'm sorry about that. This emblem stayed pretty okay. It came out a little bit from, you know, being under the pressure of my boot. And some of the leather did squish where the magnet is, of course. See how it's flatter than the other side. That's no problem. That's just part of the age. That's actually what I like about it. It is machine stitched, which is a little bit unfortunate. Nothing against, what do they even call it? Lock stitch, which is what sewing machines use, because it goes down and then around and then up, and so, like, boy, you silly boy. So the problem with lock stitching, and I was just gonna chew on this now, sorry about that. If one of the strings gets cut, the other side gets loose too, and then it just starts to unravel both sides. I don't know if you've ever noticed that with some of your stuff. This one is done in what is called saddle stitch, and if one string gets cut, the others kind of hold it in, and it stays a really, really long time. You can't make a machine that does that. It has to be done by hand, and of course these are mass produced. So, you know, I'm taking all this together, and I am glad that we got to try this. I think this is goofy. I know some folks like it a lot. I think it's goofy as heck. I would have much preferred just a clip, like, you know, like these, only they make them bigger for money. I would have preferred a money clip there, that would have been pretty okay. And then you can put a leather veneer or something over it. That would have made more sense to me. But ideally, this would be thicker leather, and this slit would be openable for you to stick your cash down in there. In my opinion. That's my opinion. You may love this thing, and more power to you. If you want one that's slightly been chewed on by a cat, here you go. I'll give it to you. But yeah, this just isn't for me. It's not for me. I'm sure somebody loves it. Also, can we just this QC, man? This QC. Look at this. Wow. It's just off, man. It's just off. Look at that. Look at that. That's not square. That's not square. Magnet's not square. And as a leather worker, I personally am okay with that stuff for me. And honestly, it was probably to line up with this thing so it didn't get picked up on the seam. So they even recognized that the seam was goofy. Man, I don't know. But anyway, it was a fun experiment for a vertical wallet instead of a sideways wallet, which I usually rock. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. I'm great to talk it out with you. But like even here, like you can see that the seam didn't like being on top of the seam, so they started to rotate and roll out to try and be thinner. That's an issue. That's an issue, especially when it comes to plastic cards. That's all I'm saying. And this doesn't offer the same protection as a bifold wallet, or trifold for that matter, if you like trifold. I've always been a bifold guy before I switched to these slim lines. But yeah, so let me know how I'm wrong, let me know how I'm right. I don't, just let me know your thoughts. And I'll catch you in the next one. Alright, bye-bye.